What's up guys, and welcome back to another not really Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon video, but a general Pokemon speculation video. So we're talking about Generation 8. Yes, I know we're talking about it again, but something came to my mind earlier today and I thought I'd take a little look into it, and it turns out my sort of theory idea did pan out, so we're going to go over it today, and that is that we might be able to gauge, or however you might prefer to say that word, how far away Generation 8 is by looking at the TCG, the trading card game. Why, do you ask? Well, one particular aspect we're looking at for this video is the fact that, like with the movies, they tend to spread out the mythical Pokemon and the games as well. They spread the mythical Pokemon out so that, you know, you don't get them all at once and you're bored of the game, or, you know, you just play Sun and Moon and then it's like, okay, I'll see you in 3 years for the next generation. They spread it out, they give them out, you know, once a year basically, and have a movie about that mythical Pokemon, for example. We've seen it before with Keldeo, with Hooper. Generally it's what happens, and the same thing happens with the TCG there, just because, you know, why not? You know, so every, I don't know how many on average TCG sets there are per total sort of set, I suppose you could say, or series. But generally they have, I think it's in English at least, there's one release every 3 months for the TCG expansions, and generally similar to the movies, it's like one mythical Pokemon a year, and that's sort of what we're looking at today. So I've got a few graphs here, bar charts I should say, shittily made in Excel, since I do not have the graphical knowledge or time to make a full sort of fancy timeline. So we have a few images here that I've generated in Excel of the releases of, you know, expansion packs, and also when each mythical Pokemon was released. So we're starting with Diamond and Pearl. We're looking at Diamond and Pearl, Black and White, X and Y, and of course Sun and Moon. And we're going to look at 3 mythical Pokemon for each generation, because generally 3 is like basically the amount of the number of mythical Pokemon there are. So it's generally at 1 per year after the game's release, and that, you know, means the generation generally lasts 2 or 3 years. So Diamond and Pearl, we have what do we got? We got Shaman, obviously, Darkrai as well, Darkrai, Shaman, and Arceus. Darkrai, you could argue, is not necessarily a mythical Pokemon. I think it is though. I don't know off the top of my head. But that's sort of, you know, it was given out via event, for example. So that's the idea behind that. Had a movie for it. In Black and White, we have Keldeo, Meloetta, and Genesect. Makes sense there. X and Y, we have the only 3 sort of mythicals there, which are Diancie, Hooper, and Volcanion. And then finally for Sun and Moon, we actually only have 2 mythicals. We have obviously Magearna, then we have Marshadow, and then there's Necrozma. Necrozma, I don't think classes are mythical in any sense, because you can just catch it right in the game, but because there are no others, it classes as the 3rd legend basically, and can be classed in this instance as the mythical Pokemon. So we're going to look at each generation, each series, and see when these mythical Pokemon were released in the TCG. You could probably see similar things happen in terms of films, but the TCG is just easy for me to actually analyse rather than having to look at films and, you know, anime and stuff like that. So first, Diamond and Pearl. Diamond and Pearl is an odd one out for the food here, but I thought I'd bring it in anyway. You can see Diamond and Pearl, as I said, shitty bar chart, ignore it. You know, one release every 3 months, those are the blue lines, and then every now and then you get an orange line, which is a release of mythical. So the first orange line now in February 2008 is Darkrai first appearing in the TCG. Then next up in February 2009 we have Shaman first appearing in the TCG, and then finally on November 2009, or in November 2009, we have Arceus appearing in the TCG. And that's the idea behind that. Now, as I said, Diamond and Pearl is a bit different because it was a much longer generation. You can see, or you will see, there are a lot more releases of the TCG here, because we have loads of Diamond and Pearl, loads of Platinum, and then even Heart Gold and Soul Silver. So the few blue ones after that last orange one are the Heart Gold, Soul Silver ones. And as I mentioned, it's a bit different. It's just, it must have been the way they structured it, because there are a lot less in the future ones, and also it's spread out a bit better, I suppose. So then looking at the Black and White series, of course we have less orange bars, because, well, you can see one of them's higher. That makes sense. And the reason they're towards the end rather than, you know, Diamond and Pearl being in the centre is because, of course, we have Black, White, and we have Black 2, White 2, so they were all related to the same generation, meaning that the mythicals could easily be sort of groups and spread out like that. But you can see the double 2 high bar is, of course, Keldeo and Meloetta arriving in the same TCG set, so 2 and 1, why not? And then, of course, Genesect is on the last one there, on the penultimate, I think, or possibly the penultimate. I don't think it's the penultimate. Actually, yeah, penultimate expansion for Black and White. So you can see that pretty much towards the end, as I mentioned, it's pretty much once per year. So obviously, April 2011 was when Black and White base set was revealed. As I mentioned, looking at the English sets here, so these English release dates are released, that's the word I'm looking for. And then about a year later, I suppose a year and a half almost, we have the mythicals come through, and a year after that, almost, or a bit less rather, you have Genesect. So then, similarly looking at X and Y, you can see there are actually 4 sets of 3 orange bars, but one of them is too high. That's because, of course, we've got Nagina in one of the X and Y sets, which sort of messes us up, but not quite. So, February 2014, of course, we start. Then November 2014 is when we first see Diancie. It's a pretty early one, but then it's fine. With Hooper coming along, and then August 2015 in Ancient Origins, and then finally we have Volcanion in Steam Siege in August 2016, and as I mentioned, we have Nagina in that set as well. And that's quite a weird thing because, of course, we didn't have the games yet, so it was kind of weird, but it sort of works, I suppose. And now, of course, with the Sun and Moon series, we've only had 3 releases, or not even 3 releases. We have 2 sets. The third one is due for English areas, English regions in August. So we're looking forward to August, but of course the Japanese have already got it because they do love their TCG. So you can see here, February 2017 was base set, May 17 was, of course, what was it called, Guardians Rising, and then of course August we're getting Burning Shadows. Double high there for orange because in Burning Shadows is the first appearance of Necrozma and Mars Shadow. So after the 3rd set for Sun and Moon, we have seen all of the mythical Pokemon and pretty much all the legendaries for Sun and Moon. So that begs the question: why? Why be so quick with it? Why release Necrozma and Mars Shadow at the same time? Why not spread them out? I guess it's to keep it in line with the movie, because of course we have Mars Shadow in the movie. But then it goes to beg the movie question: why is Mars Shadow being featured so quickly? Why not a movie about Solgaleo and Nala first? Of course, you could talk about. I think the movie is like obviously a homage to the original generation, hence why Mars Shadow maybe had to come into there, or some reason like that. But it still begs the question: why is it not spread out more? And this would, at least for me, lean towards indicating that this is going to be a very short generation. We saw Nagina in last generation's TCG, and we have both other legendaries, or the mythicals, I should say, appearing in the 3rd set. Now, generally, as you can see, for Black, White, and X and Y, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11 sets, or in X and Y's case, it's actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 possibly, including generations because it's not listed on here. So 11 or 12 sets per generation, and they've used all the mythicals up, and basically all of the new Pokemon up within the first 3 sets, which generally they spread out, at least to some extent, at least the legendaries, across the sets. To keep people coming back, because if they release the sets, it's got a new mythical Pokemon never seen before, whoa, come and get the set, it's good publicity. So why are they using it so quickly? Well, who knows? But this could indicate that we have a very short generation. It's something we've speculated about already, because of course we have Ultra Sun and Moon coming in, November, and we're then talking about possibly getting Generation 8 next year for the Switch. Now, thinking about how the releases go in terms of TCG, we have a release in August, as I mentioned. The next release would then be in November, so we'd have our 4th set for Sun and Moon in November. Then February would be our 5th. May would be our 6th next year, and then leading on to August would be our 7th, and that would be seven sets until we're getting to the time where maybe talking about November time again for Christmas, Pokemon releasing on the Switch, and that would make a lot of sense, especially since the mythicals have been used up quickly. Another thing to mention is we're also getting another type of set, I think basically like this month, in Japan at least, which is called, I think, Shining Legends. Now this set is something that's going to be released alongside boxed products, so similar to Generations. If you guys have heard about that from TCG for X and Y, which is where you could only get the packs for them in collection boxes where you have to basically pay more for them, and they're doing something similar for the Sun and Moon series with Shining Legends. And again, that's happening now as opposed to Generations, which happened in the middle of the saga. So that would again be another indicator to me that it's going to be a very short generation. Link that into obviously Pokemon coming soon on the Switch, or being in development currently for the Switch, and then wanting to probably get it out as soon as possible so they can get on that Switch hype train. It would indicate to me strongly that this will be a very short generation, with the TCG lasting possibly only 6 or 7 sets, hence why the mythicals have been used up so quickly. You could put this down to, oh well, there's not many Pokemon in the generation anyway, However, I believe there were less Pokemon in Generation 6 than there were in Generation 7, and we've already used them up in less sets than in X and Y. That's just something I thought I'd point out, guys. Do let me know down below in the comments section what you think. Do you think this is another indicator that we're going to have a very short Generation 7 and jump straight into Generation 8 on the Switch? Or do you think I'm just, it's just a little thing, It could be a little thing, they just did it because they want to get them out with the movie and they actually matter to anything. Who knows? Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments section. But this is going to be it for today, so I shall see you next time. Thank you for watching. Goodbye, my friends.